Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham. Dane Brugler of The Athletic, who I think might be the best NFL draft analyst in the game, does a fantastic job. Released his first 2026 NFL mock draft, and thought I'd react here. I thought the Bears got a pretty good steal in this mock. With the player that Dane had the Bears taking. So thought I would spend 10 or 15 minutes on it here. Right now, the way I see the Bears' needs heading into the offseason, and this is subject to change based on how certain players at certain positions finish this year, what players get re-signed, etc. I think edge rusher is a clear top need. I'd put left tackle 2 still with an asterisk. Ozzie Trapillo has shown some good things. If he can continue to progress, he could certainly hold down that position for next year. That's certainly on the table. I'd put safety only because as of now, your top 5 safeties, including C.J. Gardner-Johnson, if you want to throw them into that group, are all free agents. So until they bring some of those guys back or replace them elsewhere, that's got to be a top need. I'll throw defensive tackle in there, and then running back. Is kind of a distant one right now. I think if Swift and Monangai finish the year the way they've been playing, I actually think you're at a pretty good spot. And, it's kind of like edge rusher than everything else right now, which is kind of crazy to say. Roster's actually in pretty decent shape how they've been playing this year. Okay, what do you think is the biggest need heading into 2026? I think it's clearly edge. Montez Sweat's almost 30. You got Dio Adengbo, who's off an Achilles. We'll kind of break down that position later on here, but I think it's pretty clearly edge. I don't think there's a close second right now, unless Ozzie just struggles down the stretch and it's like, you probably need a left tackle. All right, in this mock draft, I think the Bears get a pretty big steal. TJ Parker, the edge rusher out of Clemson, 31st overall, because that's where the Bears would be picking today based on record, which that's crazy in itself. To think about. But he lands with Chicago late in the first round. And if you remember, he was a projected top 10 pick coming into this college football season and didn't have a great year. I still think he's had a good year for Clemson, but their season kind of fell apart. And, sometimes you wonder with the high-level draft pick, you're losing. Does that impact how you play? It certainly doesn't help. Dane Brugler had this to say when he was breaking down this pick for Chicago. He said, after leaning offense early in last year's draft, the Bears' goal with the 2026 class should be building depth on the defensive side of the ball, including the pass rush off the edge. Parker is at his best with the runway, where he can use his strong hands and long levers to break down the balance of blockers. 3-year starter at Clemson, including all the way back as a freshman when he had 5.5 sacks and 12.5 TFLs. His best year was last year. He was fantastic. Graded out well, was productive, 11 sacks, 19.5 TFLs. That's why coming into this year, he's considered a top 5, top 10 pick. And this year, the sack production and the I'll call it splash plays production just hasn't been as good as it was last year. 5 sacks, 9.5 TFLs. He was still good this year. If you look at some of the advanced numbers, which we will in a second, he still graded out well. He's a good player, but he just wasn't as dynamic and dominant as he was in 2024. But you're still talking about a 3-year player at a big-time program, especially on the defensive side of the ball. There's a lot to like here with TJ Parker, especially with his upside if you're able to get him late in the first round. Subscribe to the channel. We're bringing you the latest news, rumors, game coverage, plus a whole lot more. We're obviously focused in season primarily right now, but the offseason's around the corner. We'll crank up our draft content once the Bear season ends, free agency, etc. But I thought this was a good enough topic to hit it now. If you want more draft content, let us know in the chat and in the comments section. Okay, TJ Parker, you look at his PFF grades this year, still good, right? 83 overall, 77 as a pass rusher, 81 defending the run. Pass rush win rate still over 15%. That's a good number. Run stop rate at 7.6%. That's in the upper tier among his peers in college football. So, I don't want you to look at the raw sack numbers and be like, this guy had a bad year. He was still good. He just wasn't maybe as dominant, didn't finish as many plays as he did a year ago. Dane Brugler on his top 50 big board recently wrote this about Parker too. I think he had him in the 20s somewhere. He said, after combining for 32 tackles for loss and 16.5 sacks over his first 2 years, Parker hasn't filled up the stat sheet the same way this season. At the time, it was 2 sacks, 6 TFLs, but he finished strong, ended up with 5 sacks and 9 TFLs on a disappointing Clemson defense, but he uses his size and length We know Dennis Allen likes those two things, to force his way into the pocket. I really like the upside here. Again, not an ideal final season at Clemson. I guess he could go back. He's technically just a junior, but you get this guy late in the first round. He was a consensus top 10 pick through 2 years. Like, that would be great value, especially if the Bears are picking in the mid-late 20s or early 30s. I mean, 32 would be fantastic. But I think he fits the mold of what Dennis Allen's looking for, and it's just your top need. So I think there'd be a lot to like about this pick. More about TJ Parker in a second, but it is Packers Hate Week, which perfect time to tell you guys about our brand new FGB gear. If you're watching live, Cullen's got the link in the live chat as well, chatsports.com/FGB. You can go directly to the shirt or to the hoodie, chatsports.com/FGB hoodie. For the hoodie, chatsports.com/FGB shirt. But if you're kind of driving around thinking about later, what was that link? We'll just keep it simple, chatsports.com/FGB. Get you to the homepage, and you can click and shop from there. Awesome gear. We're increasing our merch, and hopefully you guys buy so we can do more and expand even more. So holiday season, great gift for yourself, your friends, your loved ones, Bears fans out there. If you want to troll your Packers fans and send this to them, you should do so, chatsports.com/FGB. Okay, edge rushers taken before Parker in this mock draft from Dane Brugler. Arvell Reese, kind of the edge linebacker hybrid, went 3rd overall to the Saints out of Ohio State. Auburn's Keldrick Falk went to the Titans in a trade down, number 5 overall. Reuben Bain out of Miami went to the Commanders at 6. Texas Tech's David Bailey went 8 to the Cardinals, and then Cassius Howell, kind of the speed rusher out of Texas A&M, went 25th overall. I like Howell and Bailey overall, probably a tick more than TJ Parker based on this season, but I do think Parker fits the Dennis Allen mold better. He's probably better against the run. He's a bigger edge rusher. He's listed at 6'3", 265. Those guys are more in like the 250 range. He is big enough for Dennis Allen. I expect him to have 32 and a half, 33-plus inch arms, which we know they want long-arm defensive linemen, especially in this scheme. And I just look across this roster and across this defense, the biggest need for me moving forward is clearly edge rusher. You know, Montez Sweat's having a nice bounce-back year, but, like, he's never going to be Micah Parsons. That's just not who he is. Good player, but, like, he's not some dominant player where he can just carry the load. Austin Booker still developing. We're hoping he can continue to ascend. And then you have a lot of guys who aren't under contract after this year, right? I mean, this is kind of the outlook right now for 2026. Montez Sweat, sure, Dio Adengbo, but when's he going to come back? How's he going to play coming off that Achilles? I don't know. Austin Booker, Shamar Turner, who they kind of moved to edge. I have an asterisk next to him and Adengbo because they both have defensive tackle flex as well. They could kick inside some next year, which I would expect would be the case in some situations. Dominic Robinson, free agent. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, free agent. Maybe pick one of those guys to come back and be like your 4th or 5th edge rusher. Daniel Hardy, he's more of a special teamer. So you don't have a ton of depth on paper heading into next year, and you still don't really have a lot of those high-end guys. Sweat's a really good player, not a dominant player. Odengbo, you're hoping he comes back and is serviceable, but off the Achilles, there's no guarantee there. The bottom line is, right now and moving forward, on your team, you don't have enough good pass rushers. That includes your interior guys, too. I mean, Grady Jarrett's getting older. Javon Dexter will be entering the final year of his contract. Andrew Billings is a free agent. So defensive line, starting with edge. I mean, you're 25th in sacks this year, and a lot of that is Dennis Allen dialing up pressure. I mean, only 12 sacks from your edge group, and Montez Sweat has either 7 or 7.5 of those. It's just not enough. I mean, you need more production off the edge. The elite defenses in this league have at least one big-time edge rusher, if not multiple good ones. The Bears have one good edge rusher and not a single elite one, and certainly not a lot of good ones. They have just some okay rotation players. So I think it's by far the biggest need. Even if left tackle emerges as a need, the rest of your offensive line is so good. You can get by with that, or you can add a guy on day 2 to kind of compete with the Ozzie Trapillos of the world, depending on how he finishes. But I'm trying to get a big-time pass rusher this offseason. I think TJ Parker late in the first round would be pretty good if they don't, trade their pick or something like that. But this would be kind of a home run, I think. What do you guys think? Grade the pick of TJ Parker to the Bears in this Dane Brugler NFL mock draft, A, B, C, D, or F. I mean, we'll see how the draft process goes. My opinion could certainly change. But sitting here in December, if that scenario played out, you get him in the 20s or early 30s, I think it's an A pick. I mean, this guy has huge upside was viewed as a top 10 pick. Didn't have his best year, but has a lot of skins on the wall playing at Clemson the last 3 seasons. All right, that's going to do it for Chicago Bears Now. Appreciate everybody for making it to the end of the video. The focus is on Sunday, FGB. Let's beat the Packers. We're bringing you content every single day, so go ahead and subscribe and bear down.